If you're of a certain age, like sadly I am, then you probably grew up with things like William Gibson's Neuromancer, like Tron, maybe even The Lawnmower Man, or there's this kind of interesting video game that I think I'm probably the only person that's played, which is Burn Cycle on Philips CDI. Um, these are great things, and there's really nothing out there, is there, that emulates that experience in a tabletop role-playing game. We've got things like Shadowrun. Um, it's just not quite there. So, wouldn't it be cool if we could do exactly that? Dive into a computer system and roll 14 different dice in the process, explore crazy crit tables, and just have a bunch of fun in some kind of digital dungeon. I'm here with James Pozenel from Horse Shark Games to talk about Netcrawl, and I'm pretty excited, as always. Some of these things we might have seen slightly before. There was an expansion that came out a little while ago, and this is drawing out from that. This is going to be awesome. I'm very, very much looking forward to this. You got to check it out. If you're excited, please do all the likey, subscribey, ringing the bell stuff. And with Devious Dungeons, Foreboding Forests, and the coolest cats, my name is Phil, and welcome back to the Dark Orb. And this guy's beard is amazing. James, how you doing?
Hello. You can't even get the whole thing on the screen.
Oh my gosh. That is the most amazing beard I've seen all day.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's just today, I guess. So.
Hey, if I do this, then I can pretend, right?
Yes. Your beard is huge. It's got to be.
I grew this beard out originally because I kept getting ID'd when I was in my late 20s, and I just got fed up of it, and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. Well, I hate shaving, so that's why it's here.
There is that. I kind of do this bit and this bit, and then it
that's
grows
too
out,
much.
and then it gets really annoying, and then it's really
A little trim over the mustache.
My face is too high maintenance. It's no good. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you are watching this right now, I guess, then we are live. Burn Cycle had the best commercial. I was going to play it. It was a great game. It was pretty tough. And for anyone who hasn't played it, I mean, this is going back to the 90s, I guess. And it was one of those games where you had a specific set amount of time to actually complete the game in a single run through. Like games used to be, right? Like video games used to be.
Yeah.
But that was then, and this is now. How cool is this? So, James, welcome.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm totally excited to get the chance to talk some more about look at those graphics. My man, you've got this all hooked up.
I should have switched that over during the flash. I'm going to pretend that I did.
I'm in the net right now. Well, I am, for real.
You totally are. But are you crawling? Well, you will be.
I will be. Shortly.
Tell me a little bit about how... well, first of all, I guess with the strap line for what Netcrawl is. Like, if you could explain it in one or two sentences.
Yeah, so it's going into the cyber dungeon, right? You don't leave anybody in the meat space behind in order to do your business against the computer. No skill rolls. Everybody goes in. Seconds pass in the meat space, and days, months happen in cyberspace.
Yeah.
That's the basic idea.
That's amazing. And as far as I'm aware, there's just not really been much like that. Thank you very much in the comments for noting about my voice. Hopefully it's better now. Please let me know.
Is the music really loud? It sounds loud for me.
Too loud for you. There we go. I can bring the music down. There's just not been much like that really in the realm for a while. But as I said, we have things like Shadowrun.
Yeah. In Cyberpunk 2, right? Like, there's a lot of things that are like adjacent to it, but
that's the word I was looking for. It was right on the screen earlier on. I can't remember if you got it.
None of them did it. None of them do it all that well.
There's so much crunch.
Or worse, it's one person who's doing that part by themselves.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta
Yeah,
run
so
the
I guess,
matrix
like,
and
if
get the
someone does a
thing
hack,
set
right,
up.
and everyone else just watches.
Yeah, that's the worst. So that was definitely like the reason why the game got developed, right? Is I was just like, well, I mean, kind of, it's led in first with like doing some conversion work between DCC and MCC, adding, patron AIs and spells and all the stuff for the shaman class in MCC was just kind of like the start of it.
Yeah.
And then, somebody, I think it was John Wilson. I will attribute this to John Wilson. He's like, "Is this a setting?" I'm like, "No, not a setting. It's just a source book. It's just a supplement to add on to the game." And but then I was like, "Wait a minute. Is it? I mean, is it just that? Should it just be that? Is there something else to say, or some tools, or something else to be produced out of the exploration?" And a little bit about me is I'm a longtime computer professional, so like did tech support, did programming.
Yep.
Now I'm an architect, a system architect, API architect, so enterprise architect these days. So here I am. I've been steeped in this for so long that it's just a great opportunity to kind of like a little bit of a love letter to the profession, and get to use all the, play around with the words we use in a different context, and hopefully one that's fun. Like, I don't want people to walk away from this going like, "Oh yeah, I can be a programmer now." I just want you to have fun in like Tron, the Matrix, whatever, with your buddies at a table, doing whatever you got to do against the computer.
That's amazing. So I guess for anyone who doesn't know Dungeon Crawl Classics, I mean, we could talk a little bit about that. So it's kind of like, I mean, they talk about it being the Dungeons and Dragons that your crazy uncle wishes that you would play.
Right.
And I guess we're at that age of being the crazy uncles, right? So.
We are the crazy uncles.
And it's like an old school Dungeons and Dragons. So it's still class based, and you still have your D20 and your modifiers, but there are some changes in how it works when things go different. So when things get weird, well, when you have supreme success or supreme failure, and depending on the kind of weapons and spells that you're using, things just sort of deviate slightly from Dungeons and Dragons, don't they?
Yeah. I think it's a fun component, and I think a lot of people like to knock table-based kind of games that utilize tables right at the during a turn, during action, and that kind of stuff. And I can understand it. I played Rollmaster.
Yeah.
That was really bad and really painful. But I think DCC, it feels kind of like it's because it's only used in those kind of certain circumstances where it's a critical failure or a critical success. It's kind of exciting, right? It's like, oh, something bad happened, and you're waiting to see what's going to happen, and on the reverse of that, right? Like something really great happened, and you're just waiting to see like how crazy it's going to be.
And it really does get crazy, especially when you're doing things like spell casting, and every spell acts completely different depending on your role and various other things. So, and I guess for Netcrawl, you're not casting spells in the same way. So what would be the substitution for that?
Yeah, I think, well, MCC kind of informs directly kind of what it is. So we're talking about programs and activating programs. But also, any designer out there, you steal, right? You steal from the best, or you steal from the things that make the most amount of sense for the design.
Yeah.
And so that part definitely came over of the table of program results that could happen as a result of activating a program.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also in DCC Dying Earth, there's the Vankian style, right, where you just know a script at a particular, a program at a particular level, or a spell at a particular result set, right? And you can repeat. It always works the same. And the scripts are the same thing that I'm kind of bringing into Netcrawl. Is like some classes have scripts, and so they're just like one use or multiple, how many slots they got, whatever.
Yeah.
And they are able to use those scripts over and over again, and they're predictable, but they're burnt afterwards. Like you used it and it's gone.
That's really cool. How did you go about starting this? What was the foundation? I mean, where do you start on this?
Yeah, I don't know. I think books are certainly an important component of kind of materializing, what the classes are going to be like. And so, like the Alex Effinger series of Murad, and all these mod chips, right, that Murad is putting into his head in order to like speak different languages or have certain skills or have like an AI like in the back of his head talking to him.
Yeah,
like that kind of like played into the war driver, who's the the warrior class. So those mod chips are just like really specialized speed dice tables, right? Like, I'm going to do this one thing. I'm really good at shooting a gun, or I'm really good at hand-to-hand fighting, which is different from like Mighty Deeds, right? Where you can kind of do anything.
Yep.
But they're kind of like more specialized, but they give you more benefit. Kind of like part of that design. You could still, I also kind of leave in there the improv chip. It allows you to do a Mighty Deed, but it's not as effective or has as many bonuses as these specialized chips do.
Yeah.
So that was one thing, kind of an innovation, maybe, on the whole concept. And then, but that book kind of came into play as kind of like how to think about a class inside the net, where they're not interested in knowing about the system, or they're not interested in, kind of being an expert inside. They let the chips do the work for them, right? And then, of course, you mentioned at the top, Neuromancer and the Sprawl series in general is a fantastic. You got lots of like the grifter, Chase, right, in Neuromancer. He's the one who's punching in the grid coordinates and doing the work and watching the AI and the firewalls and talking to Dixie Phil or whatever and all that stuff. So the grifter, that's Chase. And then some of the other stuff, you're doing a game, a role-playing game, and there's kind of, I won't say conventions, but like there is kind of like that, the classic 3 or 4 classes, right? Wizard, youth, fighter. So you got to have a wizard, and so I just kind of bring over the DCC wizard, basically whole cloth, pretty easy to do. And then still need a cleric, maybe? You got to heal, right? So, totally. So that was kind of a, I think a lot of the inspiration for that came from MCC itself, and some of the adventures and some of the patron AIs themselves are like very much about holograms and being inside the net and talking to these patron AIs and that kind of stuff. And so it's like, well, that whole class is just kind of like, they believe that patron AIs or AIs in general are real people, let's say. Like they're kind of like, they believe it has sentience. Like whether you believe that or not today is irrelevant. But in this, kind of takeoff of now, the avatars kind of believe, right, that we could live in cyberspace and we could, there's real things out here. There's real knowledge to be imparted, real experiences to be had. And I think that's also an undercurrent of some of the cyberpunk books too, right? When you run up against an AI and you're kind of questioning, like, is it real? Do they deserve kind of their own existence? Those kinds of things.
Are there any specific pieces of work that really inspired you when you were thinking about how this is all going to work and come together?
Let's see. I really loved the Hardwired series by John Walter Williams. Is that right? I think that's right.
We can fact check that.
Someone could fact check it. And in particular, he has like a middle book. He has 2 books. There's 2 books. Something Whirlwind. Oh, I'm doing things with it. Don't use your fingers.
It's not going to work.
There's never.
There we go.
Hey, confetti. But there's 2 books, but there's also a middle book, like a 1.5 book called Solop System, which was fascinating because it was like this, a lot more AI in it, a lot more like subversion of people's like just taking over somebody's mind completely, and replacing them with your own, like a copy of it, not you controlling them, but a copy of you written onto somebody else's flesh, which was like so crazy as an idea. And in fact, that whole thing got turned into a program for one of the patron AIs that I wrote a long time ago in the Scion series. So lots of inspiration from books and literature, for sure. You know what? Let me just do this. I've got a whole a page on my Patreon where I just talk about what are my the influences of the game. And so I'm just going to lay that in the chat. And
we'll throw that down in the description down below as well. A good opportunity now to talk about your Patreon and what backers can expect if they join it.
Yeah.
And join ours as well, guys.
What's that?
And join ours as well at the Dark
Yes.
as well.
Join all the Patreons. It's free. I mean, most people have a free tier, so just join. Yeah. It's nice to know that people are interested in looking at your stuff, Yeah,
totally.
Even if they're not, supporting financially, it's great to have other people to talk to that are kind of passionate about it. But yeah, so this Patreon really, Netcrawl and the Patreon are one to one. The Patreon started because I was going to do Netcrawl. I had made the decision that I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's been going now for 31 months straight, which is almost, we're getting close to 3 years. But every month, 2 to 3 articles I'm writing there. There's a content post that kind of presents something that I'm going to use that I'm going to present in the final game. And then I also do a design diary about that entry. What was I thinking? Why did I do this? Why did I make the choices I made? How could you use this? How could you just mess with it and totally twist it all about and use it differently, right? There's no one way to use a game, right? Rules as written is just a starting place in my mind for any of it.
Yeah. Totally agree. I mean, although I do get a little bit, I guess it's like an autism thing. If a game is so out of kilter that you have to change all the rules, then I kind of personally feel like maybe you're not playing the right game for you. There's a certain level.
That can be
by
true.
and large, rule of cool is what matters.
Yes. It can't be so empty that you feel like you're having to write the rest of the game system. That's no good. But if you want to throw away stuff, or if you want to throw away stuff or alter stuff because small aspects of something don't appeal to you, I think that's always legitimate.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to make it your own.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the game itself. I guess there's more than one book, right?
There is more than one book.
DCC product or DCC-like product, so there has to be more than one book.
We have to use all those covers. We have all that art for all those covers, and we got to make books for them. That's the rules.
Too true.
And so there's the main book, which is in the Kickstarter or in the Backerkit, and
that's got some amazing artwork from our
prototype.
Our cool friend. I've got the. Let me see if I can do this. Is that this one here?
Yes. Johan Nohr, Mark Bjorg and Cyborg and a bunch of other games besides. He did that piece. So that's the main rule book. And that's going to be the classes, a collection of programs, the combat stuff, the main rules, a little adventure in the back that you can play with, and a bestiary, some ice, some stuff to fight against, equipment that you can use. Some rules on making advanced equipment will be in here. There'll be the main book, right? Most of the stuff will be in there.
And that'll be a hardcover, right? And
that'll be a hardcover, 8.5 by 11, or was that A4 essentially for metric folks. A little different than A4, but close. And then the next book is called Netcrawl Arcologies, which is more of an ideation book, and so
I
that's
really
going to
love
have.
this cover.
Oh man, Daniel Vega. Uh, uh, what's his name? Noirmatic. Is it Noirmatic? I think that's it. Codex Noirmatic is his handle.
Normatic, yeah. I just saw it as well.
And Daniel Vega like showed this to me. I just fell over seeing this book, seeing this cover, and I was like, well, I got to have a cover for it. I got to make a book for that. So Arcologies will be kind of like an ideation book. I'm aiming for it to be as rules light as possible. I'm sure that there will be things in there about attacks or die rolls or modifications or other things that you might have to translate across a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to use it in a different system, but the idea really is a lot of tables to roll on to like help you, I don't know, create those moving boxes in the background, right? Or whatever whatever the shape of the thing is going to be. So it's a narrative tool, a design tool, all sorts of tables will be in there to help you create adventures basically, or talk about certain situations. So I think I'm going to do maybe like a virus generator in there. That's one of my plans, I think. And then a vehicle, a bunch of tables to like make a vehicle. So not going to give you like a list, right? Like light cycles or whatever. I'm just going to let you roll on a table and you can make up your own stuff. Or you can just pick and choose stuff from the tables. That's what ideation's all about, right? It's just look at stuff and hopefully it jogs you into creating something. And that's what that book's going to be all about.
Amazing.
And then there's 5 adventures.
Gosh.
5 adventures. And the 6th one, in the wings should the unbelievable happen, and I have 750 backers on this project, which sounds insane.
I don't think that sounds too insane, if I'm honest. Where are we at now? We're at 312 at the moment.
We're at 312.
We just need to power on through.
It does. We're only 2 weeks in. So
exactly, and this is so cool. We just need
there is some time to get onto this thing. So I'm totally excited about the possibilities. But so the 6 adventures waiting in the wings. But the ones that are planned, there's 2 by me. Mm-hmm. One's a 0 level adventure to kind of start you off from a 0 level application and into Avatar, which is like the name for the adventurers as a whole, our avatars. Mm-hmm. And then a 1st level adventure by Brian Shutter, who does Neon Lords of Toxic Wasteland.
Yep.
Let's see. Brendan LaSalle, my main man, Brendan LaSalle. He's been on the show.
He's the man.
He's doing a 2nd level adventure, and he pitched me this wild idea of some steampunk ending to what begins as a cyberpunk. I'll say no more. And
I could just see Brendan. I mean, any of you haven't seen Brendan on anything, he's like the most animated person on the planet.
I can't wait. Hopefully I get to see him like run it. That would be like the best.
Yeah, we'll have to bully him. Maybe we can get an actual play.
Ooh, this is an idea. And then Julian Bernick, who's my co-host on Spellburn, and I really, I'm really close friends with him. He's doing a 4th level adventure. Mm-hmm. That I'm totally excited about. You're kind of trapped in an abandoned virtual reality, and you got to figure out like what to do.
Nice.
And it's gonna be crazy. So that's what's on deck for the Backerkit, for the crowdfunding. So
now, is that level 0 going to be a funnel?
Yeah, the level 0 will be a funnel. That one is like I'm doing Star Crawl, which is a space setting for DCC, kind of like. And then you go into the net in order to finish the adventure.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know what is exciting about funnels is generally you'll have like 4 or 5 characters each, player characters, and invariably you'll have 2 or 3 that on paper are awesome, really well spec'd, and then you'll probably have one that's got like the worst stats possible. And that's probably the one that's going to survive as the judge, the DM just throws crap at you and sees how many people how many player characters he can kill off. You've
randomized your stats, right? Because you went 6 down the line, but that's not enough. You've got to randomize who's going to live.
Yeah, and that's your level 0. So I mean, in DCC, you're like a something really kind of basic like a farmer or something like that.
Yeah.
And not that farmers are basic, but you know what I mean? Like just a general dog's body in the town, and nothing special about you. And that level 0 is your backstory for your character moving forward. So it's really cool. That first adventure is like the thing that starts you off in your adventuring career. So this is the event that starts you off as a really cool program, right?
Yeah, and you start off with like a bunch of kind of programming applications or various things that like a hologram generator or a garbage collector or a password sniffer or a search agent or a rootkit or a Trojan horse or a worm. So you started out as kind of all these like, you know, tools and viruses and that kind of stuff. Chatbot, that's one of my favorites.
Nice. That's really cool. I love that.
And so that's who you start with, and then they get like they get a weapon, which I call a daemon, and then they get something called a datagram, which is kind of like equipment, but usually kind of gives you a boost to like a skill or an attack or something like that, and you can use it one time. It's like having a vial of holy water, right? Except for there's a bunch of things it could do, and it's kind of specialized and spec'd towards what your application type is.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that your judge would, what do you call the judges in Netcrawl? They got a
I don't know. I've been calling them judges because that's kind of like the parlance for DCC. Maybe I call it a game master, or maybe I just come up with something else completely different.
I guess if you go the Tron route, then it's master control.
Master control program. That'd be pretty cool. It's in the running. I think actually that's one of the jobs. Is that right? Did I put that in here? I think I put master control program in here.
That's awesome. I've forgotten what I was going to ask now. It was very cool. Whatever it was I was going to ask, it was very cool. But okay, so you've got those different characters that you can play, and a whole different bunch of equipment.
Yeah.
Does it stop there? I don't think it does. There's more.
There's a lot more. So we talked about mod chips. There'll be a bunch of mod chips for those war drivers to kind of plug into their head.
Is that as you level up?
Yeah, there's like a bunch of like you kind of start off with like a maximum level that you can kind of slot into your head, and then there's different like there's advanced chips and there's standard chips and there's mark levels, like what mark level, mark 1, 2, 3, or 4. There's ways to kind of like scale up, right? Like the amount of damage it might do or the benefits it might provide, so that when the war driver is going on further and further, you know, the chips are coming along with them.
That's really cool. So Bahasa and Gareth suggests administrators for the judges.
Ooh, administrators. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like that.
Admins. The admin. I like admin.
Yes.
Password is password, of course, as always. So there's the mod chips. There's a lot of cool equipment. I've been, of course, you know, it's closely aligned to Cyberpunk, so it's going to be a lot of Japanese stuff, alongside just some, you know, just the regular like energy weapons and all sorts of guns and stuff like that you can be putting in your hands. So that'll be there. There's I think I really love how the armor that's in the book, because they're like circuit suits or block chainmail or you know, cyber skin or, you know, firewalls, all these kinds of you know, really closely aligned. A lot of cool stuff. You know, you think about computer systems, there's a lot of defenses.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kind of cool stuff to kind of pick and choose out of the profession's vocabulary in order to kind of make armor. So I think that kind of turned out pretty cool in my mind.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And how did you come across, or how did you determine the kind of art style? Because it's such an interesting approach that you've taken.
Yeah, so the layout, I've got there's a couple ash cans out there. They're on DriveThru RPG. You can go pick one up. The version 3 is out there. Pay what you want right now for the campaign, you know. And then as a thank you to anybody who signed up for the Backerkit. I provided like the current work in progress of V4, 04, I should say, and I really went into this V4 version kind of anxious because I didn't really know what I wanted to do from an art direction perspective, and I'm not an art director or an artist or a layout artist or a graphic designer. I've played around in those spaces. I've been a front-end developer for many years, doing websites. My degree is in medieval history and history of art, and I especially gravitated towards illuminated manuscripts. And none of that has anything to do with making books about games, but it does help kind of give you like a sense of white space and kerning and all these kind of terminologies that you have to really apply to laying out a book. But so I was really anxious going into it. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think I kind of started making stabs at what I wanted to do, and then I started keeping going with it. And basically, it's terminal design, or even like 8-bit graphics, or that kind of stuff, where it's not super sophisticated because I'm not an artist, but it is very much like you pull up a terminal screen, it's black and white, or black and amber. Remember amber screens?
Oh yeah.
And green screens, so black and green, and all those colors, right? It's like, so those became kind of these common palettes that I would just start playing around with. Okay, so it's black and green or black and gold, and let's see what that looks like. And so some of that stuff pops, some of it doesn't. Really, I made this version 0.4 as kind of a test to see what would work good on paper and what wouldn't. And I'm just really happy with kind of how that's played out. And I think the last kind of element on all this was like, I had a bunch of black and white images and I wanted to do a color book. And so it's all about using a bunch of filters and Photoshop tools in order to like give it color and to give it like a variety of treatments until basically I just mess with the thing in black and this black and white photo until it looks cool. And then that's what goes in the book.
It looks really cool. I mean, I hope you don't mind if I share just a little bit from that before the preview. It's not going to be as good as looking at it yourself, but let's check it out. I mean, we've got Johan's amazing cover, and I really like this. There's something so visceral about it in a way, and it really calls out to me. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so as far as I'm concerned, this is kind of how computers look still.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm using a Mac. Don't judge me.
Me too.
But yeah, this is great. I think it's really fun. And there is a bit of a call out to how Morkborg, that sort of art approach as well, in terms of the lurid colors, but it's much more readable. It's fun, man. It's really fun.
Yeah. Some great art to start with. That's all. Those are all Andre Garin, who did Cloud Empress and Banished World. Yeah.
Okay. I think we had. Are these also? Let me find it. I can't find it now. I had another image that I was going to share, but it's gone. Where's it gone? Where have you put it? I'll find it in a bit.
All right.
I give up. But there was more. Oh, the heroes. Picture reminded me, so it's just re-uploading now. There we go.
Yes.
So cool. It really is.
All mad props to Andre Garin for like the images, and then I just got to play with them until I was like, oh, these look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And they do look absolutely great. So that's the layout of the.
I'm just gonna keep doing that. That's gonna be my style. That's a done deal, right? As far as like what I'm gonna do with the images, it's all gonna be black and white, and I'm just gonna mess with them until I like them, and hopefully you will too.
No, it's going to be great, and of course, on an A4 page as well, it's going to be super readable.
Yeah.
Really straightforward.
That's true.
And I guess you're still Are you still taking the DCC approach with the 14 dice?
I am. I'm a little worried about it, but hopefully people will get over it. Like it's surprising how many new people that I have come to the Backerkit campaign and pledged, like a ton. I'd say the majority of the people are people I've never, had the opportunity to interact with or see in like the DCC, various fan pages and locations. So there's a lot of new people coming to it, and it's a chance for me to introduce them a little bit to DCC and tell them it's going to be okay, and it's going to be fun. And so keeping the dice, you guys, they're okay. It's a great mechanic. The die chain is a great mechanic. Way better than adding +2. Yeah, way better than adding +2 or +4 or +6. Just go up the dice chain. It's an amazing way to, and it's fun at the table. This is another thing that is just lost on people. It's like, but I don't know the dice. It's like, do you realize that we're gonna, the dice are not just a tool. They're kind of a prop and this kind of fun thing to play around with at the table.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's part of the weird
Not only do you own a D30, but you also get to roll it once in a while.
Yes, and hopefully a lot if you're doing it right? If you're pressing your case with the GM or the judge, and saying like, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and you're like, the judge or in DCC or in this should just be like, go up the dice chain. Go up the dice chain, Be a natural response at the table. It was way fun.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if you've translated any of the other kind of special things that exist in the DCC systems. So you mentioned Spellburn, which is like a podcast for Good Games, but Spellburn itself is a mechanic within DCC.
Yeah.
Are you doing something similar in your game? And could you talk a little bit about what Spellburn is and how it translates?
Right. So Spellburn is a special mechanic that only, I guess the wizards only have the mechanic, wizards and elves. And also in Netcrawl, it's the Cybernaut. He's kind of deeply modeled after the wizard. But it's a way for them to put their own blood into the spell is the DCC kind of way to think about it. And so that's like stat damage. You're actually like damaging your physical stats, bleeding out, weakening yourself, pouring your life force into the spell to give yourself a 1-for-1 bonus on the roll. And so that's Spellburn. So you want to cast a spell. It's really important. You have to succeed. You need to get up to level X because that's the thing that's going to help you tactically, with a situation that you're in. And so you're saying, I'm burning like 9 points of stats, and I'm pouring it right into the spell. And same thing, I call it burn down, which if anybody's a developer, you know what burn down is. But stole it for Spellburn, so it's burn down. You're burning yourself down, or you're burning chrome, right? Just like in the short story. So burning chrome. And you're burning yourself right into that program and to amp it up into some crazy level to do something special. So I kept that. That was there's even the Spellburn, the burn down table is even in Kyridian of the Computarchs, which is like the big spell supplement, the program supplement that I wrote back in 2022, I guess, or something.
Kind of started everything in a way.
Yeah. So it's there. It's central for sure. You'll be burning stats. You'll be burning hack, which is my replacement for luck. And so you'll be burning hack in order to change stuff in the world net, which is kind of set or whatever. So I'm still stealing a lot from DCC because I think it's worth stealing from.
I mean, you're a developer, right? This is what Stack Overflow is for.
That's right.
So you mentioned that you've changed the stat for or the name of the stat from luck. Have you changed any of the other stats?
I did. I've decided. I'm not 100% decided, but I've decided that the strength inside the net feels weird. It's like a concept. It's like there is no strength. per se.
Hmm.
So some names, some changes for the names for sure. But whether I do that in the end or not is irrelevant. I think it's still a 6-stat system. It's still like the same styles. They're all synonyms for the same things that you learned in D&D. So even if it's called strength, wisdom, dexterity, intelligence, constitution, charisma, or nobody does charisma. Personality, I guess. Wisdom and personality got mushed together in DC. So it should not be really a difficult thing. If this is a hang up for you, is that they must be DCC stats or they must be D&D stats. Go ahead and just name it whatever you want. The concepts are basically the same.
Yeah, I mean, it all ends up being the same thing ultimately.
I
think it's cool to have that little extra bit of theming. It really kind of helps you to immerse into the system and into the setting.
Yeah, so it's power, agility, kept the same, vitality, psyche, wits, and hack.
And bitcoins.
Bitcoins. There's no bit. Although you're free to do whatever you like with bitcoins.
Yes. If you really must.
If you really must, go ahead. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. I'm sure that there should be an adventure that talks about cryptocurrency. I think that feels like a given.
And non-fungible tokens.
Exactly. And all that. It's coming. And this is an important thing to, I think, highlight too, is this isn't just cyber delving with like a veneer on top, right? I think you should look at this game as an opportunity to talk about what technology is to you and how you want to deal with it, or what the specters and boogeymen and all the stories that we're kind of telling already about technology, just get to do it at a table with some dice.
That's really cool. I love it. I saw in the comments that we have Neon Lords of the Toxic Wastelands in viewing. Hopefully you're still there. But obviously my segue here is to, I know that there's kind of like a joint venture happening.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Neon Lords, I remember that when that first kind of appeared and how cool it was.
Yeah, so, that's a great game. I didn't know it at the time, or it didn't quite like click yet that he and I are really in a similar space, right? He likes that 16-bit gaming console stuff and wrestling and post-apocalyptic and trauma films, and they all kind of get mashed together. And here I am doing a computer game kind of thing too. And so there's like a natural like connection or affinity between the two games.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, Brian, I found out he was going to launch his campaign around the same time. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why don't we do this cross collab thing? Because I'd just done it with the Purple Planet Horde. So like Goodman Games reprinted the Purple Planet. Joseph invited like 6 or 7 developers, independent third-party developers to make their own Purple Planet adventures to go with his work. And we were all together as a collaboration crowdfunding campaign. And that was the first time that Backerkit or any other platform had done it. Yeah. And so I was there for that and saw how powerful it was, like really to leverage each other's audiences to, push the products, into a higher level, a stratospheric kind of effect. And I was like, here we are, Brian and I, like really having, sidelong conversations with each other in design, as it were. And why shouldn't we just team up together and support each other and send each other, expose our audiences to each other and help us both grow. Yeah. And I think it's been great. It's definitely driven both campaigns probably further than they would have expected. And the fringe benefit is people are going to get that, an extra adventure out of this whole thing too. If they back both campaigns, they're going to get an adventure from both of us. We're going to write half of it each. Half of it will be in Neon Lords, half of it will be in Netcrawl. We'll have a little conversion guide in the middle. and you can just play all these adventures. Token collect is adventure, bunch of scary and dangerous and weird versions of coin-op games from the 80s and 90s or something. That's the plan anyway.
That's really cool.
Go out and back Brian's campaign.
Yeah.
Back Brian's campaign, you should back my campaign.
Totally. And if you don't know Neon Lords, we'll just a one-liner on it. Basically, it's like it's got 90s splatterpunk, Toxic Avenger kind of post-apocalyptic comic book madness.
It's mad.
Shout out to Victory Condition Gaming, who helped us a lot at the beginning. There's an actual play with Brian on there, so go check that out. Then go and late pledge on that, and then come back here, and then back Netcrawl, and then you're going to get the full experience of all 80s and 90s, madness.
Yeah.
The full gamut of psychedelia.
Electronic psychedelia.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, the style in this game kind of reminds me, thinking of that, of the bright colours you have in Hackers and Cyberdelia Cafe, and that's kind of another one of those things that I really adored at the time, and the exploring of hacking into the systems, and you've got the swooping around, and it's very Tron as well, I guess.
Yes, for sure.
But, absolutely love it. We should maybe check out actually the campaign. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's dig in. So let me just remember how to use the computer. I had it all set up, and then I went and broke it all by sharing that PDF instead. Here we go. So let's uncheck that, and we go into boom. Oh look, there's us. Way.
Yes. Nice.
So yeah, we have 313 backers right now. A couple weeks left. $36,000, which is amazing. So very much hit that the kind of the lower threshold. But let's dig in. So there's a bunch of information. We talked about the core books. So you've got the Netcrawl RPG.
That's right.
And you've got the Arcologies. I still love that cover.
So good.
And then we're looking from there into the additional stuff. So we said it's an 8.5 by 11, so an A4 book. So it will fit on your shelves right next to all your other RPGs, but it won't quite fit next to your DCC books. So yeah, it'll stand out, which is what it should do, because it's a very different game. And then we've also got the Enchiridion, the Computarts, which you touched on briefly. Bunch of programs, which I guess that was originally designed kind of more for MCC.
It was, and so there'll be a little bit of MCC-ness in there sometimes, but I really tried hard to make it generic. At its inception, it was really for any kind of sci-fi DCC game. So Netcrawl kind of pushes it a little bit into another direction, but I think the amount of work that you'll have to do to kind of deal with Enchiridion will be small. Very, very, very small.
Nice. And we said Hack the Planet with
Hack the Planet.
Hackers reference earlier.
That's right.
I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
So bad.
And then we've got 5 adventures.
We do, and so there's a couple covers. Those are the 2 that I've managed to commission before the crowdfunding started. So one from Katerina Girabasi, she's awesome, and Robbie Burns. They're awesome, and I love both these covers. So I'm looking forward to it.
Available to hand here. That's really fun. I like that one a lot.
This is the half Starcrawl, half Netcrawl adventure.
Yep.
And that's an awesome scene in the engineering AI, should you get to that section of the adventure.
That's really awesome. Generative Surge as well, which is Katerina Gabassi. We talked about those other authors, so Brendan, Julian, Brian. We spoke about Brian. Hello, Brian. Hack the Planet.
Hack the Planet.
And this James guy.
Yeah, who the heck's he?
He probably knows 1 or 2 things about writing an adventure for this kind of game. And there's a bunch of pledge levels, so it definitely is worth digging in. And if you're curious, please check this. We've got the link in the comments. in the description. But check this out, and you can see there's a bunch of stretch goals. So already a whole bunch unlocked. So we have a full color interior for arcologies. We've got the map.
Yes.
The cross-collaborative achievement for Neon Lords.
The token collect.
Yeah.
Some tokens for token collect. That'll be cool.
Yes, this is good.
Free a copy, a MP3 of the Netcrawl theme by Loot the Body.
Is that the theme that's on the kind of the primary video, the
Exactly.
advertising video, which is normally up at the top?
Yes. But right now playing us. And
Yes.
then there's a somewhere in the comments or posts there's a playlist of a bunch of music for to play while you're playing. And then
I'll be checking.
Creative Iris, we just unlocked this yesterday,
Ooh.
and this is just a chance for people to, flex their creative muscles and provide some content, that will appear in the book. So,
Nice. So how will that work?
so you'll just do an add-on. It's
Mhm.
$5. You're just gonna pay $5. That really is just helping to pay for the editing and the development. And then you get to decide kind of the scope of the work you want to put in. You just want your name or a character's name as like a hacker in the universe or whatever, fine.
Mhm.
You want to like just pitch a couple ideas and quit it, fine. You want to write the whole thing up, some sort of virus, think of poisons, think of diseases, think of curses. That's what I think about. And so you'll just write up, you can do a full write-up of that same thing too. So that's what you get to do if you want to throw a couple extra bucks at it and get your name on some paper. I'd be glad to have you.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And the fact you've made that so accessible as well.
Yep.
Because a lot of the times when I've paid before to have like the Dark Orb in the back of a book, I thought was really cool. And those pledge levels tend to be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they are kind of like, I have a lot of terms and conditions just so that everyone's kind of like, hey, it's not, don't expect me to bend over backwards for you. But if you're doing your part, it's going to be part of the book.
Yeah, but not if it's got some really profane name and
like be sensible.
Yeah, well,
please.
Ish.
Ish. I mean, there's the borders are fuzzy, but be sensible.
Be respectful, I guess.
Yeah, respect.
And then we've got the character sheets.
Character sheets coming up.
Character sheets is always handy.
Yes, and then if we get up there, which maybe we will, I'll have to get some GM screens, which is just crazy to think about.
That'd be super cool. But yeah, make sure they are heavy cardboard, not like that generation of Goodman Games screens that were made of tissue paper.
Yeah, they were basically just cardstock. They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't really. They I remember I bought one and I ripped it in the first day.
Yeah, exactly.
Oops.
But then more recently they've done the thicker cardstock.
Yeah.
Like most GM screens, and they're excellent.
This will be thicker, 1.5 millimeter or 2 millimeter thick.
Nice. And then you have the challenge of trying to work out which of the many tables are going to be the most useful to put on the GM screen so that it's actually helpful.
I think there'll probably be a PDF of a various collection, a reference book collection or something like that.
Yeah.
That you won't necessarily have to have a screen. You can just print out a zine or something like that for yourself. Yeah. But for sure, a screen would be a nice little add-on. And if we get there, I'd be over the moon. That's just nuts to think about where I'm at 2 weeks in.
Well, hopefully we'll get there, and hopefully we'll get way past the $50,000, and then you can look at things like a quick reference book just for Netcrawl and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much that you could potentially do. It's exciting.
Got some stuff still holding back just a little bit.
Oh,
so I got a couple other things up the sleeves, and maybe we get there, maybe we don't. But
if you don't, it's the second Kickstarter in 6 months. It's fine.
That's true. Although I'll be awfully busy with this one, I'm afraid. I think I got lots. I've cut some a lot of work out for myself, and I'm just really exceedingly pleased of kind of the support from the community and support from people like you, put my face up here in the internet, and helping spread the word. So,
and I guess the thing is that people will always presume that when you're running a campaign like this, that you set it up and then you press go and then you just wait for the money to roll in. But everyone I know, and I've not done it myself, but everyone I know that's ever run a Kickstarter or a Backerkit or whatever crowdfunding campaign, it's like a full-on extra job, right? So
you're no lie there. I feel like it's one of these things where if you put in the work, you're going to reap the benefits, I guess, right? If you do little work, you're probably not going to see as much. If you do a lot of work, you're going to see more. And there's no guarantee at the end of the day of any of that, right? But but yeah, like the months preceding the launch to this campaign has been full of me just trying to, develop what the campaign's going to be and the direction and the scope and the content. Like, you got to write a whole bunch of content just for the Backerkit. And there is this adventure by poll that I'm also doing too on top of all this. So if you're in the campaign, and even if you're not in the campaign, you don't have to be a backer, but there's polls and you can follow. I'm doing an adventure by poll in the Backerkit, and you can follow along and see what that's about.
That's right, in the community, right? So you can just dive in, and in fact we'll have a little flick through the community in just a second. But there's so much to do, and it's like I said, it's another full-time job really. And then there's another cross-collab achievement as well, and then all the exciting stuff about shipping and all that sort of stuff. And the artists, we've mentioned a couple of them, but there are plenty, and they're all amazing. Pledge levels, here we go, let's check it out. So cool. So we start off in terms of the ordering here with just that core book, print and PDF, $45, and the same again for arcologies, or you get the trilogy for $90.
Okay, that's $10 off. Kind of a bonus.
Say again, sorry.
It's the Netcrawl Complete is like a little bonus, $10 off all 3 books. So it's
I think that's pretty cool. And why would you only want one of them?
That's right.
And it's incomplete. I don't want Netcrawl incomplete.
That's right.
I mean, we have a thing in the Dark Orb anyway, which is known as the fill level, because and you can't quite see it right now, but if I just do this, you can kind of see the ridiculous amount of books that I've got on the shelf. I think we all are guilty of this in one way or another, whether it's role-playing game books or if you just like books, like 10 million books, about 12 of which you've probably read. But yeah, I'm not one for incomplete collections. So the fill level is basically whatever the top tier is. It isn't retail, tends to be the thing that we talk about as the thing that I normally end up buying, even if I don't need it. But we have the complete, which is all 3 books plus all of the adventure modules. Now, are each of those adventure modules going to be a separate book, separate physical book?
Yeah, they're all going to be little thin modules. So.
Yeah, DCC style.
DCC style.
Yeah, this is the way. And then so the Netcrawl.new is basically, it doesn't have the Enchiridion, right? But it's got the other 2.
That's the big difference.
And the developer.
Just the 2 books together. If you don't want anything else.
Oh, I see. Sorry, .new it comes with the adventures as well.
The adventures, yeah.
That's pretty cool. But like for $10.
Yeah,
$10.
Get
that one.
Copy of Enchiridion on top.
Yeah, exactly. Then you've got gold.
Ooh. So I've got a limited number left of the Scion series, and I'm closing it out. I'm probably not going to print it again. If I print it again, it's going to be in like a second printing of Netcrawl is what's going to happen. And so here's your chance to pick up the last of the books. All the adventures, plus the 3 Scion series, plus the 2 new books, plus Enchiridion all together.
What are the Scion series?
What are the Scion series? Yeah, they're patron AIs. So these are powerful entities of the net who provide you access to programs and other benefits should you need them.
Very, very nice. Yeah. And talk to me about the sold out, but you never know, someone might cancel their pledge.
Someone might cancel. You never know. So you know who Lowe's is, right?
I'm sure I do, you know.
the Eye Wizard, Lowe's the Eye Wizard. He's stalking the internet even as we speak. His one eye with a little hat, wizard hat, casting spells to befuddle the ignorant about gaming, and he's just a really great guy. And he lives in France, and he's going to make some stencils and do some spray paint boxes, and everything except for the hardcover book is going to fit inside. So you'll have a handy carrying case for a bunch of stuff, and I'll stock it full of the adventures, arcologies, and anything else that comes down the pike later. You can put in this box too. So they're all gone now.
Yeah, they're all gone. We've missed out, guys. Then if you're a retailer, then there's a retailer. And also we have the PDFs. Now, I always like to make a point of shouting out when people actually charge PDFs at what I consider to be a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
And I think you've done a good job in that here, in that I think a lot of people don't realize how expensive a PDF is to produce, and that actually most of the cost of an RPG is in the actual art and the layout and the content, not in the printing of the damn thing.
That is very, very true. And I was like, I kind of like looked at that and I said, like, looked at what I was doing and what the price is going to be and all that other stuff. And it's like, that doesn't mean the PDF is like half price. There's no way.
Or even less, like, 10%, as it sometimes
is. No, that's where that's where all the brain work went, is right into that PDF. The paper is beside the point.
Exactly. So like, so I'm just looking, so it's $100 for electronic for everything versus like 160. Yeah. So $60 to get the printing. I mean, when you consider the logistics of all of that, I think that's still a pretty good steal, to be honest with you. But it also just underlines how much time and money up front and effort, and let's face it, you're not paying yourself when you're working on this either. So
nope.
If you're someone who happens to be self-employed, like most people in the RPG profession are, then that whole point of time is just accruing a deficit in your bank account. Effectively. So I mean, let's be real, it's not cheap or easy to do this stuff. So props to you for actually charging an appropriate amount there.
Right. And almost every time, the money goes right back into the production of the next thing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really feel like it's going to be any different in this case either.
No, really.
I'm not writing myself a big check at the end of this, I'll tell you.
Well, I mean, you could write yourself a physically small check with lots and lots of zeros, preferably at the right hand side.
Point of fact, that could be true. Yes.
This is the dream, right? So then there's add-ons. So we talked about Create a Virus, which is so cool. Terms and conditions: you'll be credited, you'll not be paid. Be appropriate. I mean, no one's going to get paid. We just discussed this.
That's right.
Someone will work with you, so that it's basically it's appropriate and right and fits and original. To protect you, so that you don't end up going, hey, they've copied my work, when you guys might come up with completely the same idea.
Exactly right. It's going to happen.
Yeah, totally. I think this is really cool. I really do. And then more of the
extra books,
additional products.
Some electronic copies of the books of the Scion series if you don't have those.
It's super sweet. And we talked about the community. So there's a bunch of stuff in the community already. Definitely worth checking out. And there's too much to go through. There's us. Yay!
There they are.
But we talked about a bunch of stretch goals. This one was deleted. It wasn't.
The stretch goal, the lock was deleted. That's all.
Yeah. This is really cool. And then, this was really awesome. Forbes has run an article on you guys.
Freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Definitely doing something either right or wrong. And we talked about that. It's almost like a play-by-post, right?
Yeah. Yep. Everybody's making the decision. You get to kind of decide. Everybody gets to vote, and so then I have to go and write the next section of the adventure.
That's super cool. Super
It's
cool.
ending in let's see, at 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, the latest pull, and then we'll go to the next part.
That's really awesome. So we got like 4.5 hours or so.
Yeah, so get in there, make some votes.
So I'm not going to click on this because spoilers, but if it interests you, just go through and pick it up from the beginning. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't recall if you put anything in FAQ. It's just the normal Backerkit stuff.
There's the normal stuff. I'm hoping
James,
to.
Such a cool project.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping to get some sort of partner on the UK side to do fulfillment local. So
yeah,
I think on all that.
I think Goodman Games are using Spirit. I can't recall.
Yeah, I think Joseph gave me a list of people to check out. So yeah. I gotta get on that. That's my next job.
With I guess Jen.
Yeah.
Will be the person, Jen Brinkman. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is going to be fun. I can't wait to see this, and hopefully we'll see it in stores as well. It'll be a lot of.
Yeah, I've signed my contract with Goodman Games, so they'll be doing fulfillment, distribution on my behalf into local game stores. So even if you haven't picking it up here, you're going to get a chance, I hope, in a bunch of stores.
Yeah. So when do you imagine that this will go to print? When do you think people will hopefully receive it? And obviously that's not a guarantee. It's just a hope and dream.
Yeah. So I'm giving myself, I hope, enough room for like a mid 2005 we'll be done.
25.
Yeah. So sometime in June or something like that.
Nice.
We'll be shipping these things out. That's kind of my hopes. I think that's realistic.
Yeah.
A lot of this has been written. It's more about editing and putting together a final layout and some writing, a little bit of writing here and there. Like the adventures are being written right now, so things are moving all in the right direction. I don't think there's going to be a problem. So, but I think next year June sounds doable.
So if the there's no gods in this, I suppose, but if there are no interruptions, if there are no bugs in the works, then maybe, just maybe, we'll see copies of this.
Really?
UK Games Expo at the beginning of June.
Ooh, yes.
Open dream.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
And
yeah, I definitely want to get it. What's that?
Sign them.
I will. I want to. You know what? I think I'm taking a holiday in England, but it's at the end of the month.
End of June.
It's at the end of June.
Well, there is a way around this. You can extend your holiday.
I was thinking about that. You could just do a whole month.
Start at the end of March. Yeah, start at the end of March.
Yes. Why not? Stay till June. Well,
all those massive Netcrawl monies.
Yes, of course.
Both dollars.
All the dollars, all the $10 is. Yeah. No, but so it'd be like, I could get there at start of June and stay till the end of June. I guess that would work.
Well, James, if you happen to be in my neck of the woods, I'm in Nottingham in the UK, then I'd love to hang out with you.
I would love to hang out.
We've got a great gaming community up here. We're like a stone's throw away from the Games Workshop and that sort of stuff.
Nice.
It's like a 10-minute drive from my house, but I don't play Warhammer, so it's completely wasted on me.
Me neither.
But yeah, that would be awesome. But yeah, if you can make it to UK Games Expo, maybe see if you can. Goodman are always looking for helpers on their tables. So
that's true. That's true. Maybe I can wheedle my way into the crew.
Yeah. Say your road crew or stage crew or something. There you go.
I know some people.
Yeah. And I'll lobby on this side. I mean, it was. In fact, it was happy belated birthday to Brendan. It was Brendan's birthday yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
And if he brings you along next year, then I'll get him a belated birthday gift. There you go. Not promising it'll be good.
I want some of those tonic tea cakes.
Did you try one?
No, they were floating around, and I was very jealous. No one offered me one. But I guess I'll just have to come there to get my own.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because what you really need is more sugar.
Yeah.
And they're just basically marshmallow with like bad chocolate and then some like graham cracker at the bottom.
Yeah, it's funny. It's called Whippets in Canada, and then they're called Pinwheels in the U.S. But
that's what Pinwheels are.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah. They use dark chocolate, both in Canada and in the U.S. Like a darker.
That would be good. Yeah. This is kind of more like
milk chocolate, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's the chocolate flavor coating.
Well, yeah. Make no mistake. This is also a chocolate flavored dark coating. Dark chocolate coating.
Kind of some kind of palm oil with a vague brown flavor.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's not a high class. It's not a high class dessert, is it?
Let's just check out the comments. Okay, they're Dickmans in Germany. Yeah, come to Warhammer World. I agree. Yeah, let's do it. Tabletop Scotland will flourish you with tons of tea cakes and caramel wafers too. I mean, I suppose I should shout out that in like 5 weeks' time, we've got our own mini convention in Nottingham, which is the Dark Orb Orbtoberfest. You're welcome there. I mean, it does mean starting your vacation almost a year early, but
I could just stay for months instead.
You might have to nip out occasionally just for your visa, but that's fine.
You just hide out in somebody's barn or something. They'll never know.
There's plenty of caves in Nottingham. You'll be fine.
There you go.
It has been amazing. Thank you, everyone who's joined.
Thank you.
I think this is an incredible game. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're of the generation where this matters to you, then please let me know in the comments. Bruce says, you need me to smuggle Tunnox over the border, Phil. The border to Scotland is very well reinforced,
They had that wall
Yeah.
for many years.
Adrian guy.
Yeah. It's that guy.
Gosh. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope you had fun. Please let us know in the comments what you think about this game. Please do the like and subscribe thing. Please check out this on Backerkit. Please also go over to the Patreon, which is right here. Check that out. Please check out Neon Law's The Toxic Wasteland as well. Back both things because they're both super cool.
Yes.
And then let us know what you think of the game when it finally hits your table.
Amen.
It has been a great pleasure. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so
James, yeah, let us know how you get on. If you want to come back and talk about the campaign at any time, or if you want to run anything, then you'd be more than welcome. We'd really love to have you back.
I would love to come back. Thank you so much again, Phil, for making this available to me. I really appreciate it.
I mean, we've been trying to plan this for a really long time, right?
I was like, it's been months, but and finally we're here.
Yeah,
all good.
It's been amazing. I still have beard envy. So, thank you, Bahasa. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Neon, and no one else commented live, even though we had several followers. So,
thank you all.
Comment more next time, friends. And we'll see you very soon. So, once again, thank you. Hope you had fun. And until next time, I hope that your dice rolls are supremely better than mine, especially with that D30, because that thing will keep rolling and I'll still hit a 1. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Peace.
Bye.